Do you know which world countries are ruled by a queen or a king? Which governments are run by a prime minister or a president? Today we're going to find out how the government in Canada is run. Our essential questions today are: what type of government does Canada have? What are some significant historical events in Canada's past? By the end of the lesson, you should be able to describe the ways the Canadian government is similar to the U.S. government. You should take out your notebooks now to jot down this vocabulary. After this slide, pause the video so you can write down these words. Parliamentary democracy means voters elect a representative to Parliament. Federal system is when the government has divided powers. Indigenous means native people. And bilingual means two languages. The prefix bi means two. Whenever you see a word that starts with bi, it usually means two. So bilingual means two languages. Jot these words down and look for more information on them as we go through the video. Let's look at the political geography of Canada and the United States. Both Canada and the United States are republics with a federal system. A federal system is a division of power between a national government and a state government. Remember, in Canada, states are called provinces. The constitution of both countries outline the powers that the national government holds and the powers that the states or provincial governments hold. Canada is called a parliamentary democracy. This means that the people govern the nation. Individual citizens give their power to an elected representative who acts on their behalf. Canada is also considered a constitutional monarchy. Canada has very close ties to Britain. The British monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, is the head of state to Canada, but has little or no power. Canada is run by a prime minister. A prime minister is similar to our president of the United States. Canada and the United States have a common history as well. Like the United States, Canada was settled by Native Americans originally. England and France claimed land in Canada around the 1600s. And eventually, like the United States, Canada gained independence from England and France. Unlike the U.S., the people of Quebec, as well as the indigenous population of Canada, are unsettled and want independence from Canada. So there are still debates to this day about Quebec and the indigenous people gaining independence. Canada is a bilingual country. It has two official languages, English and French. Let's take a look at a timeline of the European arrival on Canada's shores. This will help you understand why there is still a European influence on Canada today, with the constitutional monarchy and the French language in Quebec. After sailing west from Europe, Vikings landed on the east shores of Canada. They did not set up permanent settlements, but they were the first Europeans to arrive in Canada. The French arrived in the 1500s. They were looking for a shortcut from Europe to Asia. They used the St. Lawrence River as a northwest passage to Asia. The British arrived in the 1700s. There was a lot of conflict between the French and the British at this time. The British eventually set up the province system we know today in Canada. We've talked a lot about Quebec. I'd like you to take a note of where Quebec is on the map of Canada. The official language of Quebec is French. The historic area of the city has a very European vibe because of the French history and culture that still exists in the city. Let's review what Indigenous means. Indigenous are people who are descendants from an area's first inhabitants. The areas shaded in green on the map are where the indigenous people of Canada live. These are the Inuit people from the territory of Nunavut. Remember, they want independence from Canada, just like the people from Quebec. Let's check what we've learned. In what ways are the U.S. and Canadian governments the same? Select all that apply. If you said democracy and federal system, you'd be correct. Being a bilingual country means that it has 2 official languages, many official languages, or a queen and a prime minister. If you said 2 official languages, you'd be correct. Remember, the official languages in Canada are English and French. Let's review our objectives. You should be able to answer the essential questions. What type of government does Canada have? And what are some significant historical events in Canada's past? In our next lesson, we'll finish our study of Canada's geography by looking at its economy and current events.